So the Falcons finally hire their head coach. Kevin Stefanski is going to be the new coach here, fourth in the last decade. It just feels like a never-ending cycle for the Falcons, but they get a coach in here, and I've got two guys to break it down with me, Gabe Burns from the AJC and Cody Chaffins from Dog Nation. And we've spent a lot of time talking about why Kevin Stefanski could fit here in Atlanta, whether he does or doesn't, whether you like it or not, he's here, he's the coach. Gabe, why is he a good fit here?
Well, they needed an experienced coach. They needed an offensive mind, and he checks both those boxes. You look at the candidates available, it just made sense. And it's a two-time coach of the year, someone who's been to the playoffs. So he wasn't the coach when they won the playoff game. He was out due to COVID. But still, I mean, to take a franchise that has been the definition of bad culture and to have two separate runs with them, we'll see. It's gonna depend on the quarterback. Is Kirk? And I can ask you guys: is Kirk here? Is it Jameis is a free agent? Stefanski has experience with him. Flacco. There's other options. I mean, who are we looking at?
You know, it's funny. A lot of people have warned me about Kevin's press conferences, just saying, you know, he just kind of says the right things. It's very coach speak. Get a guy like Jameis in here. That'll be very entertaining. Okay, we'll break it up a little bit, right? Cody, what were you going to say? Go ahead.
No, I think the quarterback question is because, you know, we keep showing the video over and over when we're on the air about, there's Stefanski and Kirk Cousins. So, you know, all the thought was, all right, Kirk's going to get cut and then there's going to be money to be saved. But now when you know Penix is not going to be there for the first, part of the season, then do you go with a guy? They were successful in Minnesota. They know each other well. Kirk was playing well at the end of the year. Is it somebody who sticks around now? The only worry is with the new GM, it's less for them to be able to kind of mold and build their own team with. You're already going in without a first-round draft pick, and now you're gonna have limited funds to bring in free agents. So that would be the part that you would not lean toward Kirk Cousins, but that is a big question. And when it is Michael Penix's job, I'm sure that was a big part of the interview process because the Falcons want to make Michael Penix work. Really interesting. The Falcons continue to think that Penix was the steal of that 2024 quarterback draft class, but then we watched the NFL playoffs and it's all the dudes. Caleb Williams has won a playoff game. Stroud's won a playoff game. Drake Mays won a playoff game this year. So that was a really great draft class. Michael Penix now has to step up to be a part of that.
Yeah, and who knows? I mean, he could be in the same breadth as those guys. The problem with Mike, and it always has been, is his injury history. And I know a lot of people really knocked Terry Fontenot for that because they said, did you not do your homework? First of all, these guys are general managers of an NFL franchise. They are doing their homework and then some. They vet all of these guys. They feel so good about Mike in the scenario of he's not going to have a season-ending injury again. And then worst case scenario happens, it's high risk, high reward. And if you're Terry Fontenot and you're looking down perhaps your last season, which I'm sure that was in the back of his head, it's swing big and maybe I get rewarded for that. And if not, I was kind of on my way out anyway. So I'm sure that was a little bit of the mindset there around the quarterback situation. And who knows, Mike may come back third, fourth game of the year. I'm totally guessing because we don't know the timeline. And he may ball out and it may be great. And for Kirk Cousins, the timing side of that, it's like, maybe you just missed your friend a little bit, because it would be nice for them to reunite, and you would think that they would, but you mentioned all those things about you don't have a first-round draft pick. You're going to have to get other big free agents in here. That's going to be their goal anyway, especially for what we assume will be a first-time general manager. They don't have a lot of options. Kevin Stefanski, he has a very long history of figuring things out somehow, some way. A lot of people would argue that that's not true because of what happened in Cleveland, but we know that Cleveland has just been simply a disaster over the last couple of years. I'm going to pose a question for you that I didn't ask you guys on the show, Gabe, because we thought Kevin Stefanski was perhaps your second best option in this coaching cycle. A lot of young names, up-and-comers, a lot of people like Clint Kubiak. If it wasn't going to be John Harbaugh, or this is obviously, we're just throwing these out there now. If it wasn't going to be those two guys, who would it have been? Who would you be happy with?
It's a fair question. Look, I'm a believer in Mike McDaniel. I think that the success he had early on in Miami.
My Aqua.
Yes, of course. Talking to a Dolphins fan here.
That's true.
But I'm not sure. I think he might benefit from maybe taking an OC job. And he's going to have his pick. They all want him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone wants him to be Detroit, Tampa, Philly. These are some really good OC jobs, a lot of weapons.
Listen, his outfits in Atlanta would have fit so well. It would have been so good. Anyway,
and we would have loved him. The press conferences, he's a good dude, and he's an interesting guy. He's always look, obviously, I believe 35 and 33 as a head coach. The last couple of years didn't go well. He was also in the same way of Stefanski, hindered by quarterback play. And I think he's an appealing candidate. I think he'll be really appealing next cycle, assuming that he doesn't become a head coach this time. Kubiak is going to be the guy we all look at. You look at the show that his offense puts on.
But we don't
As
know.
the announcement was being made,
Yeah,
was running up and down the field.
But we don't know. We've seen plenty of OCs over the years. The hot name. I mean, at one point, Arthur Smith was one of the most coveted OCs, right? And everyone couldn't wait to run him out of town. So, look, ultimately, I think the experience factor, this marriage makes a ton of sense to me. And the worries about Penix, he doesn't take this job if he thinks Penix is just a lost cause.
Because he got to choose.
Point.
That's the thing you got to remember. He got to choose Atlanta.
That's a very good point.
So he sees something in there that he wants
and there's
to work
more
with.
okay, like the Titans wanted him. Let's just theoretically say that the Titans were going to offer him the job. We don't know that, but Atlanta moved their interview up, right? Mm-hmm. I think Cam Ward is a better player than Michael Penix, but the Falcons roster is so much better, and so much more suited to win, and in this division. So we'll see. I think if you go and look at like some of the criticisms of Stefanski in Cleveland, one of them is that he was a little bit. Some people felt he was coaching the aggressiveness out of some of the quarterbacks. I think that's really interesting because what is Penix best at? Right? So I'm really curious to see how those two kind of wind up meshing and what he ends up getting out of it.
I'd imagine Matt went through every scenario with him. To Gabe's point, he sits down in a room or FaceTimes, because apparently they FaceTime quite a bit, sits down in a room with him and says, let's say hypothetically, Mike doesn't work out here. What's your plan? What would you like to see happen? What kind of quarterback would work well in this system? And they are very, very, very well aligned offensively. Both Matt Ryan and Kevin Stefanski. They come from that same tree, that same offense. And play action is something that we have not seen a lot here in Atlanta. Granted, that has to do with offensive coordinator, play calling, quarterbacks, all that good stuff. But the quarterback position, to your point, it is so hard to get right. It is almost impossible to get right.
It costs people their jobs.
It costs people their jobs every single year. But, Cody, this is what we thought when the Falcons got Kirk Cousins. We're a quarterback away.
Right.
And look where we are 2 years later, and we're with a new head coach, new general manager, quarterback got drafted underneath him, all those things happened. Do you believe the Falcons are really just a quarterback away, or do you think there's a couple other pieces at play here?
It's hard because, I feel like all of these coaches, like if anybody says they know what's going to happen with Kevin Stefanski in Atlanta, they are lying because nobody knows, right? We felt really, like you said, we felt really good about Arthur Smith. He's going to outsmart everybody, and even with, depleted talent. So the Falcons do have talent. I think you're always injuries away too. Everybody, the one thing I keep hearing from national media is how great the Falcons offensive line is. And that's true if everybody stays healthy and Jake Matthews doesn't become an old guy like he is, and he continues to stay healthy, and Lindstrom and McGarry comes back and he can actually stay on the field. So those, so a lot of parts revolve around that. But yeah, you do feel good about all the pieces the Falcons have in place. And so, yeah, if you can get consistent good quarterback play, it doesn't. I don't think they need a little more than just a game manager, but they have to have good quarterback play. I think you do have a lot of those pieces, barring injury, that can make those plays.
That's why I think that Kevin makes a whole lot of sense, because you do have someone finally where you feel very good about what he can do offensively. And obviously Matt and him are going toe-to-toe in these rooms and saying, here's what it looks like. And Matt's made it very clear, I'm not here to be a quarterback's coach. I'm not here to be an offensive coordinator. He's relinquishing that control to whoever he's hired, which now is Kevin, not Clint. I was thinking about Clint Kubiak and thinking that could have also been a decent fit here, but it's the unknown of never being a head coach. But what makes me giggle a little bit is when Raheem Morris was hired, look at all of the coaches now that didn't get hired by the Falcons that were interviewed. This is the you never know, right? Mike McDonald, balling out. Ben Johnson, he was in the mix of those young offensive minds. And so for a lot of Falcons fans who believe that Clint Kubiak, that's why I thought about him, was the best answer in that scenario. Mike Vrabel also interviewed here, and look what's happening to him in New England. But when you think about these young offensive minds and you see that coaching cycle, that kind of just solidifies what the Falcons fans are thinking, in that, okay, these young guys, there's something to that. Look at all the guys that have won Super Bowls here recently or been in the running for it. They're these young up-and-comers. That does not mean Kevin Stefanski can't work out here, okay? I actually do believe it's imperative for a guy like Matt Ryan, who is, to your point, figuring it out. He doesn't know totally what the job entails, to have somebody in the room to say, hey, like, I've been around, I've been doing this for a long time. I think it's important. Any other final parting thoughts about this whole thing? I'm just glad it's over. I'm glad that there is a coach in the building, but now they still have to work on general manager. I'm glad it's over too. Again, I just think this was really logical. I think this hire made sense. If you preferred Kubiak, totally understand. Sure.
Okay? I also understand why they did. some of these top names, like I think Jacksonville's OC, Grant Udinski, like he's got a second interview with Cleveland. 30 years old.
It's crazy.
He looks like he's going to be a star in the profession.
Yeah.
He's never called plays. Okay, like Nate Shieldhouse, everyone loves him in LA. He's getting interviewed by everybody. Has not called plays. Like, there is a risk factor with a lot of these guys, and the Falcons needed somebody who's kind of been there, done that, and who's had success, who's been on that stage, who's coached stars, who's managed, who's been part of locker rooms with at times tumultuous, but Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry and Baker and Nick Chubb and Myles Garrett and a lot of names. So it just, to me, when you look at who's available and when you look at what the team needed, this just makes a lot of sense.
You know what I love about the city of Atlanta? I'll let you say something, Cody. But one of the many things that I love about the city is I feel like it's built up of a lot of people who have been through some stuff, right? Like, y'all know what I'm talking about. People in Atlanta, we are built from the fire. Kevin Stefanski is walking out of a building literally on fire. Right. The man has seen some things, and I think there's something to that. I think you can't really make that up on a football field. You got to go through some stuff to really get to where you want to go, and I think Kevin's done that.
Yeah, and to get a clean slate for him. I know there was a lot of people around the league excited for him to find Atlanta and get out of Cleveland, or find wherever he landed next and just have a clean slate. So that'll be exciting for him. I think the other thing to remember about these Falcons is really the last two coaches were like a game away from keeping their jobs.
Yeah.
If Falcons make the playoffs last year, I don't think they get rid of Raheem Morris. So they were a game away. Arthur Smith was like a game or two away from making the playoffs. The thing is, what they're asking of their head coach, at least right now in Atlanta, is not back-to-back Super Bowls. Like, it's back-to-back winning seasons.
Yeah.
Get a winning season. We haven't had a winning season since 2017. You haven't made the playoffs since you lost to the Eagles way back when their president of football was a player. So, yeah, it's not asking a ton. You're really, really close, and you're still in the NFC South. That's the best news of all of this, is it's a winnable division. You're not, looking up at somebody. No, you're right there with all of them. You finished, technically tied for first in this division. So it's winnable. You're just a game or two away. And so you feel like if he can just take them that little, it doesn't have to be a huge leap, it just has to be a little next step.
Little increments. It's not a wide-known thing in football, okay, because you want large margins. People want the next step forward. But I think you're right. I think that's what Falcons fans, Falcons front office, that's the expectation. And that's why I believe John Harbaugh looked at the Falcons and said, this is intriguing. They're in my top three. I have to go to a division where the guys that just won it are 8 and 9. Are you joking? Like, let's go. And the pieces in place there make a lot of sense. So I went back and forth with fans on X, Twitter, whatever we call it these days, just about this being an intriguing job. It is. And that's why they have an experienced head coach now in Kevin Stefanski. So I want everyone to get a little bit excited. This is a fun time. It's nice when you got some new people in the building. I know that the wins, we're all desperate for him.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan especially. I mean, he's got to be as frustrated as anybody. He didn't walk out of there with a Lombardi trophy. He was closer than obviously any of us ever have been. But he was so close. And so I think he's the right person to get this franchise back to getting that much closer, and hopefully a Lombardi trophy for the first time ever. That would be wonderful. Not going to put that pressure on Kevin, but playoffs would be nice. I've been here for 6.5 years, never covered a playoff game, so time to go. But thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. The new era of Falcons football is beginning, and he's still got to put his staff in place and a general manager, but crazy times. We'll keep you posted on all of it.